With some burnt sienna, drop some colour into the chimney stack and pot. So just put a base colour on first. While we've got that colour on the brush, move down to the tiles on the porch. So burnt sienna and some burnt umber, slightly darker colour, and to make it more rustic we'll add just a splash of green, which is sunlit green, and while that's still wet just drop that into the tiled roof. Then with the colour shadow, darken the front of the chimney pot. Then allow that to dry. The next stage is the detail on the walls of the cottage. So it's a whitewashed cottage with dark black painted half timbered frame, and I'm going to use a dark colour which is ultramarine and burnt umber. You might have noticed I haven't actually got a black in my palette, so to make this really dark colour you simply use ultramarine and burnt umber, and then paint in the woodwork. This is the medium detail brush. Now it really doesn't matter if the lines are a bit wobbly, because this is a very old cottage and an old timber frame. And with that dark colour, maybe a touch more blue this time, just put some colour into the windows. And the front window here. Just leave a little bit of light on the side. Just drop another colour into there. This is some raw sienna. Give the impression that there's some curtains. Not too much detail. And still with that dark colour, ultramarine and burnt umber, paint the underside of the windows in the roof. So it goes up and over, comes round like that. So really quite dark underneath there. And the next window, so there's the top of the roof line, comes back on itself, then down, dark underneath the eave. With the colour shadow and some burnt umber, just run the dark colour along the ridge decoration at the top of the thatch. So it just comes along the top, this scalloping for the decoration, and it runs down there. Maybe a bit of shade from the chimney pot across there. Now coming down to the wall, I'm going to use the foliage brush and some burnt umber. Bash the brush so it opens up and stipple some texture onto the wall. I've masked off some of the mortar around the stones and colour shadow. Use a piece of paper as a mask and stipple along the base of the wall, so I've got a stronger, darker line. So there's a contrast between the wall and the path. And when that's dry, we put in the detail. With some shadow and burnt umber, start to pick out some of the stonework. So this is just the underside of the raised stones. So just paint in some of the brickwork, coping stones on the top of the wall, then with the small detail brush and some burnt sienna, add some more colourful stonework into there. Some raw sienna. Just noticed a white area here, so we just put some colour onto the footpath there. Bring that through the fence. And for the door, some cadmium red, but very, very pale, not too strong. Just wash that over the door. Then with the colour shadow and cadmium red, just darken that at the top there. Still with the dark colour, just put just a little bit of detail on the top of the porch. Right, before I remove the masking fluid, just check I've covered all the foliage. So with a small detail brush, dark green, just put a little bit more detail in there, in amongst the hollyhocks. Into there. A little bit darker along the border. So with some midnight green, just touch in that darker colour. So there's a contrast between the border and the lawn. Create some texture just by dabbing